it
Hamclock.
is.
Yes.
We see a Hamclock.
Okay. All right. Let's we'll get going here now. All right. All right. So obviously Hamclock, it's a great tool. It's very simple to use once you become familiar with it, but setting it up can be a little bit overwhelming at times. Let's go to the next screen. So where what is it? It's basically a device that was created. I'm going to give you a little history here, right? So you can appreciate how long this thing's been around and what it took to get it up and going. Elwood Downey was the guy who came up with the concept. He's now a silent key. It was a software application designed basically for ham radio and amateur radio operators. It provides good information from DX clusters, space weather, radio propagation, satellite tracking, and so much more. It's got a ton of different features that are built into it and just kept growing over the years. Originally was meant to run on like a Raspberry Pi or a microcontroller or computers, right? So this is Elwood's was his his homepage. He got the concept, he got the idea from the Geochron, which was, I mean, it is today still an incredible device, right? So he took all the features that was in Geochron, which basically, allowed ham radio operators to, for the first time, to see real line, gray lines and such. And he started mimicking all the different feature sets, and he started building servers in his home to collect this information and then output it to a single device called Hamclock. The problem with Geochron, even in its most current feature, is that it's very expensive and it has an annual subscription. So, the $500 price tag for the software kind of held people away from it a while. It didn't really catch on as big and as common as Hamclock actually has today. So back in 2017, this is how I got drawn into it. Back in 2017, QST had an article. And it basically talked about this device, a Hamclock, and they showed how to build it with a small ESP microcontroller, with a small 7-inch touch screen. And I was fascinated by it because I'm more of a hardware guy than software, but it kind of looks simple enough to just go out and buy stuff and slap it together in the article, and then in the in-depth articles they kind of went into it a little bit more, and I was hooked. Right, I ended up with a small, nice 7-inch display on my desk, and always wanted to have it on a big screen, but at the time, a lot of that wasn't available, or in order to do it, you had to manipulate a lot of the Linux code. So he had a website. It was called Clear Sky Institute. And when you first went to that page, it showed his active Hamclock on the page. But the one thing that was really, really impressive was he had the link to the original article, the QST article that was there. And he also talked about, hey, you can also buy these things off the shelf from these different companies if you wanted to. You didn't want to have to go through the route of programming it and building it and doing everything else yourself. So if you went there today, unfortunately, this is what you see when you go to the Clear Sky Institute page. It basically says it's reached its end of life, version 4.22. All Hamclocks will stop working in June of 2026. It sent panic through the through the whole industry of people who had Hamclocks, because we've all gotten, well, most of us have gotten pretty dependent on it for a lot of different things, for propagation and weather and a whole bunch of other stuff, spots. So a couple of very, very industrious ham operator guys and in some cases, many different people work together, came up with, here's two different solutions that came up that materialized in the last couple of months, I would say. One of them is a place called Hamclock.com, and the other one is the open ohb.works, which is the open Hamclock backend. What these guys did was pretty ingenious. They basically reversed engineered everything that Elwood had done with the servers, how it collected all the different information from all the different sources, and they basically recreated it themselves. And now it's even gone one step further. They've taken, like the OHB guys have actually taken it, and there's actually a version 4.23 that's available now. So the original version, no, I should say the last version that Elwood Downey made was 4.22. And when he did that, he enabled the software to have a feature turn on to where you could tell the software, don't look over here for the information anymore, look over here. That's a very simple way of putting it. And that's one of the things I think he did purposefully, knowing that he was not going to be around to continue to host all the servers necessary to support Hamclock. So the first one, Hamclock.com, he has it now. If you went there, if you currently have a Hamclock and you want to realign where it gets its data from, he came up with a very simple solution. Initially, there were a bunch of things you had to change, but he's gotten it narrowed down now to a single line that you can put in, and that's this line right here. If you went to the web page, you do these 3 steps with your Hamclock, and now you're pointing at his servers, this gentleman here who's running it, right? Then the competitor, the alternate one, is Open Hamclock's backend. You can also do this redirect, and they give you clear instructions on how to do that. You go to their homepage. This is what you see. He has a link on the homepage. You click on it. If you have a Quadra or other devices, they go through all the steps and instructions on how to tell it, don't look over at Clear Sky Institute anymore. Now look over here. And that will successfully allow your device to continue to run past the end of June, right? Which is what everybody panicked, because if there wasn't anything done to address this, I believe that, and I'm really curious to see what would have happened, is June 1st, and I've left one of my devices unmodified just to see what happens. I think in June 1st or some date in June, most of the panels in Hamclock that we see today, and I refer to these types of things, all these little panels, I think they would just all go blank. I don't know. I'm curious to see what we end up with afterwards. But by the sheer efforts of these two groups, we don't have to worry about that anymore. So Hamclock remains a viable tool for your shack. If you don't already have a Hamclock, there's a couple of ways you can actually get one, right? You can build one with a microcontroller using the guidelines in that QST article. You can use a Raspberry Pi 3 or 4 or whatever one you have around, or you can buy a pre-programmed device such as the Innovato, but there's an asterisk there because the Innovato device, the actual small mini computer, isn't actually available anymore, but there are other alternatives. So if you build it yourself, if you love building kits and you like putting small projects together, this is the way to go, because it's a relatively simple project, works well, the stuff is available. You're probably going to end up, it's a fun project to build. I listed it as pros and cons for a reason here. You end up with a nice looking 7-inch display on your desktop or on your shack, where you have your shack, and it just works. It's a nice little device, and it's very attractive, and it gives you all the same information as you could on a big screen. Problem is it's expensive. It probably costs $120 or more now because the price of some of these things have gone up. You have lead time to order the parts. You have to put it together. It's your time and labor, but if that's what you enjoy doing, then that's actually a plus, right? And at the end of it all, it's not guaranteed it's going to work if you don't program it correctly. So, there's some negatives that go along with it. This up here, like when you looked at the list of parts from Adafruit, the display controller they had in the QST article was $5. It was actually like $35. So there were errors in the article. Since there's been a RADA published to address some of the errors. But anyway, if you build it, you can expect to spend probably just, north of $120. The second thing is if you have a Raspberry Pi around, you can use that device, and if you hook it up to a small 7-inch touchscreen, which you can get on Amazon for $30-40, you can probably build that whole thing for about $80 to $100. Although Raspberry Pis got really expensive for a while because there was shortages. I honestly don't even know what they cost today. But the one other advantage of using a Raspberry Pi is you can load other software onto it. So there's this guy, Dave, I forgot his name now. Hold on, it'll come to me in a minute. He came up with a whole selection of stuff that you could load on your Raspberry Pi, along with Hamclock, and have access to over 90 different applications, ham radio applications. So, Dave Slaughter, that's it. So this is kind of I threw this in because I think Dave did a very heroic effort putting this together, and it's been around for a long time. It's got some everything on it. It's got antenna applications, APRS. It has digital modes on it that you can run. It has FL Digi stuff. It has all kinds of Morse code applications, training stuff. I mean, and he did it all, and it's all out there for free on GitHub. GitHub is a collection where developers publish their stuff and typically give it away for free or make it public domain for people who are interested. So that's like a extra added feature if you have a Ham Pi and or you have a Raspberry Pi that you're going to run Hamclock on. You can also load this Ham Pi package of software with over 90 applications. So there's another way you can run a Ham Pi with a device with a monitor also. You just basically program the Raspberry Pi. You have to flash it with information, put an SD card in it, and then you can hook it up to a monitor also. Then there was this Innovato, which we talked about, which I said isn't really available anymore, but there's substitutes. The good part is it's less expensive. It's a turnkey solution. You buy it, you turn it, it comes with a power supply, you plug it in, you hook it up to a monitor, boom, you're done. And you've got a fully functional Hamclock. And there was technical support up until not long ago. Talk about having to have a monitor, just to kind of give you a screen. You can go on Amazon today and for about $43 buy a 7-inch touchscreen that you can plug directly into these devices. So you don't need to have, if you don't have a big screen TV laying around or you have another monitor or anything else, for about $43, you can buy one of these small touchscreen ones and have it on your desk. So we talked about the Innovato, which Michael Burmeister, he kind of spearheaded this initiative where it was he took these small mini computers, he programmed them with all the Hamclock information and sold it as a package with a power supply and an HDMI cable, and you plug it into a monitor, turn it on, and lo and behold, there was your Hamclock. It was all up and running with everything that you needed to do it. He also sold them with mini keyboards. But as of about December, if you went to the website, this is what you'll see. It says it's shutting down operations due to the founder health issues. Online stores closed, but he provides an alternate also. Comes along N0LSR. He has a great website.
Thank you. And he's right here.
It's right. It actually is a really, really great website. It's got support stuff on it. It's got the firmware, the stuff to flash your devices. He also has available an alternate, this HK1R box, which is very similar to what the Innovato was. I have one. I bought it, played with it. It works great. There's no concessions that you make if you take this route. In fact, I highly encourage people to go this route. And one thing that's very notable is on that website, there is a version 4.23 available, which has some updated features. And I'm not 100% familiar with them all yet, but they're as compared to the 4.22, which is the last version that Elwood developed. So that's something else to consider too. He also has other devices up there, such as a UPS backup that you can add. You can add power poles to the connectors to make it easy to connect into other devices on your shack. I highly recommend going to take a look at that website. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what I really wanted to start with, how to set up your Hamclock. So you either have one or you've been given a kind of a direction on go get one, right? So you have this device and you first turn it on, and what you're going to see, so this screen is actually in two pieces. On the left over here is what you'll see when you first plug it in and turn it on. It's going to come up, and it has no call sign in it, has some generic long and lat data, and all the other defaults in there's 7 pages here that you have to set up when you first turn on a Hamclock. So when you first turn it on, the one thing you absolutely have to put in is your call sign. And I'll show you this live here in a little bit. So we're just going to step through quickly on some of the pages and some of the things that I think are so important to set up correctly to really get full use out of your Hamclock. Obviously, your call sign. It won't let you exit out of the screen without putting your call sign in. Over here, you can put in your Maidenhead, your grid locator, or you can put in your Latin long. Put in your Maidenhead locator, your Maidenhead grid, and it'll automatically backfill your Latin long. This is if you want to use GPS for your times. Basically, if you set this to built-in, this time protocol, if you leave it at the built-in, when you first turn on your Hamclock, it goes out and it solicits a bunch of time databases that are out on the internet. It finds the one that's has the least latency, and it will automatically set the time based on that for you. So, that's why I recommend we leave it to built-in. And always, there's a user guide associated with these. Download it. It's I think it's about 20 pages total. It's got a lot of great information in it. Even today, even after having been playing with these for a long time, every now and then I'll get to something. I'll go, what the heck is that? Why do you do that? And I go open the manual up again, read it a little bit, and then it kind of refreshes what's going on in my head. So I highly recommend also download the user guide for the version that you have. Page 2 comes up about this cluster information and UDP. What that is, well, in simple terms, if you use things like FT8 and you want to see where your DX is, if you've told the device where you are, your DE. And if you use FT8 and it knows the destination, FT8 will communicate over the network, over this UDP they call it, right? It's basically a communication protocol that happens on a network. And if your Hamclock and your your FT8 or WSJTX, let's say, are running on the same network, they can talk to each other in the background over this protocol that we call UDP. And you basically give it the addresses. And in what's printed over here in white are the defaults for those. Like if you have a single device on your network that you want to talk to, you would use this 127 IP address. Like I have several devices that are all talking to each other on my network, and I use this, what they call a multicast IP address. They all use this port 2237. And for those of you with Flex devices, if you want your Hamclock to communicate with your Flex, and I don't have one, so I can't say what features you would gain by doing this, but they also have a port 60,000 or a common for the Flex is what I read is a 5002. So, there's ways for this Hamclock to kind of go out and talk to other devices that are on your network also. The third page in your setup, and what I've written in red here is kind of narrative that I've added, but this is what shows up. So you can do rotor control with your Hamclock. You can do rig control with your Hamclock. And then I'm not 100% familiar with this, but W1HKJ's rig control, I guess it's a unique protocol that was out there or still is out there. I'm not 100% sure, but you can turn that on also here. For ADIF, it can go into your log file. This will help, like later on, if you wanted to highlight certain spots that you have already in your log file, grid squares or specific contacts. You can have it watch for certain. You can do an ADIF watch. You can tell it from like a DS cluster for certain. You can have it filter certain contacts. They'll show up either red in your listings on the screen on your Hamclock. It will exclude them from the listings in your Hamclock, or will only show them. So you have those. Or you can just turn it off, right? Mine are currently off. I don't have it do anything with my ADIF files. And the same thing with your ONTA watches. You have options to set those different features on or off. This is page 4 is a very simple setting. It says, where do you want the display to show up as a center? I leave mine at 99 West, and it kind of gives me enough of a screen to show me where I want to see. This I2C file has to do with if you've got it hooked to a Raspberry Pi. I2C is a protocol, and it can turn devices on and off, and you have an option to enable that feature in Hamclock to toggle certain devices if you want under certain conditions. That's pretty much exclusive to if you're using it with a Raspberry Pi. And then page 5 has a lot of information on it. When you first bring it up, you have a choice of how you want to set the date orders, what day your week starts. It defaults to metric. Obviously, if you want to leave it, if you want to go to imperial, you can change it there. You can just read down through. They're pretty self-explanatory, but one of the other things is this pane rotation. When we get to the actual screens, which I'll share, they change every 30 seconds as it's set in this, and you have an option to make it change more frequently or less frequently. Another thing is the map that the Hamclock shows. You have options to have it cycle through different maps on the screen. And I do mine, like I show maximum usable frequency, I show a terrain map, and I think there's a third one I think I have toggled. But they rotate every 90 seconds on my display. And then the last thing is page 6. This is really color selections is what it kind of comes down to. when you show these different paths, like if you're showing your satellite paths, you can pick the color that you want those displays to be shown on your Hamclock. You have two options. You can save. You can have two settings, I should say, an A or a B. You can load your colors from either A or B settings, whichever one you've chosen. You can have it pull in from PSK Reporter also. The color standards that are used on PSK Reporter. And then once you're done manipulating all of these different settings, you can just hit done and it'll jump. Oh, there's one more. And there's an option to turn the device on and off during different days of the week at different times also. So it's got a lot of features. Then when you're all done, you hit that and it'll start to run and jump into its normal operation mode. One of the cool things that I like about this, and I run this with Innovato, is there's a feature where my Innovato is on a big screen in the room, and that's fine. But when I go to set it, when I want to go change things or manipulate things, I don't like using the small keyboard, and I don't have a separate keyboard for it. What I do is you can pull up any browser, and when you bring up Hamclock, and I'll show you this live in a minute, it displays the IP address of your device. It's in the header up there, and it cycles it through. And if you pay attention to it, you write it down, then you go onto a browser, and if you type in that IP address with a colon, and then after that you type 8081/live.html, your Hamclock will show up on your browser screen on your computer, and it's fully functional. You can change things, and it'll change it to the device. It's a very, very powerful feature that was built into the Envatos or the other devices. So let's explore. I'm going to go and let me exit out of this real quick, and I'll bring up my Hamclock. Hold on a second. Oops. Okay. Hopefully you all are seeing that now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you're seeing my Hamclock, right?
Yep.
Should see KO4 USA up in the top left corner, right? Okay, good. So this is actually my display, my Hamclock running on a big thing, and I've come in and I've if you'll see right here, it says IP 192.168.86.64. And if you look, once you type that in up here in this URL line and hit enter with the colon 8080/live HTML following it, this is what you'll get. You'll get it on your browser. So you can start changing things from here. Let's start up in the top left corner. You can manipulate the colors that you want. If I want to change what shows up, I have it set just to my call. So what I've just done is I clicked on my call sign. You can create a title. You type it in right here. I have Dave-KO4 USA. And now that's what shows up on my Hamclock. I want to change it back to, or I can have it rotate between my call and the title that I created. I just leave it as my call sign. This here is the version number that I'm running. I'm running 422. I haven't taken advantage of the 423 yet. But what will happen eventually, I'm told by both groups, is if when you click on that version number, it says, hey, if there's an update available, you could update. Well, for me, there isn't one right now. So it just says there's no version information and you're fine. So I'm not going to do anything with that. You can change the format of your time. You can change the format of your date. You just click on it. One of the things you see here, this little lock Mine is unlocked right now, which means I can change things on my screen. But if you click and hold on that, a menu comes up and you have a bunch of different things that you can do. So if I want to restart my Hamclock or exit the Hamclock or reboot the whole Innovato computer or shut it down, you can do all of those things right from here. So if I said restart Hamclock and I hit OK, we're probably going to see some weird things on the screen here in a minute, but it should come back. So it comes back to the setup screen, right? And here's my setup screens. I have my call sign, and this is the screenshots that I showed you before. Was there a question?
Oops.
Are we good?
Yeah. Good. Sorry, I'm on a mute.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna hit done, and it's gonna run back into Hamclock again. It'll reboot. This is where it's looking for the different time servers. It's measuring the latency, and it's going to pick the best one, which ended up being Google at 35 milliseconds, and it's going to reboot again and bring up my Hamclock. One thing I highly recommend to everybody is when you get your Hamclock up and running and you get it configured the way you want it, come over here to this device, click on that, come to configurations. And the reason I say that is because it allows you to do a backup and grab your settings that you've taken, you've taken a lot of time to get the thing to look the way you want it. So do a backup. And what you would do, like I can reset, you can reset it where it'll clear out all your settings. Or I can say, like, if I want to restore it to my latest, I would just come over here and say restore. And the last one I did was last week. Excuse me. So, if I say that right now, it'll go into the memory. It'll take the settings that I've had my screens all configured for, and it'll restore them. Hamclocks are kind of finicky sometimes about if they lose power, their settings get corrupted and different things. This is a quick way to get you back to an up and running to a standardized configuration that you've already saved. So I highly recommend people do that.
Dave, this is Steve Rowe, yes. K4SR. What I found is it will remember the last, if you take it all the way down, it remembers your last configuration that you brought up. It'll read for the latest and then load it.
Yeah, well, I can actually show you what, if I say restore here or reset to default configuration, all those settings will be blank.
Yeah.
In fact, let me take a second. I'll show you why. So I'm going to say restore to the default configuration. It's going to come up. It doesn't know my call anymore. Yeah. It doesn't know my long and lad. It doesn't know anything. It's a pain in the neck to go back and put all that stuff in again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I do, you have to always put your call in. So
right.
I'm gonna go ahead and put my call in and just say done. I'm gonna let it boot. I'm gonna let it do its whole thing. And it comes up with a default configuration. I come over here to the little lock. I go back to my configuration. Get out of demo mode. There we go. I say okay. Yep. I come over here. I come back to May, which is my last backup that I did. I say okay. It's going to reboot again. And lo and behold, all my setups are back the way they were again.
Yeah. My point was if you lose power, it will go and find your last config that you stored and restore that so you don't have to worry about it.
Oh, yeah. Really? A lot of people told me that they've had a lot of issues with corruption. I don't know if that's...
Dave, if I just make a comment there.
Sure.
It's a good idea with the different configurations, but there is one little problem. It doesn't keep that if you ever get your memory corrupt and you have to reflash it.
Okay.
In order to do that, you would have to back up to like a you can back up your configuration to a USB drive. It's not as easy yet as on that page, but I already made that talk to the developers for OHP, and that will probably be a new feature in the future that you can restore from a USB drive and save to USB drive in that menu what you just pulled up. But that's something for the future.
So Udo, maybe you might answer a question I have. Is it so if you have a SD card in there, right?
Right.
Can you save to that SD card?
No,
you cannot?
Unfortunately. I mean, you could save these what I just said, the configuration, but you would have to go to a terminal right now today. You have to go to a terminal and do a specific command to copy the configuration files over to your SD card.
Yeah, you'd have to do a secure copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not as easy as like, okay, yeah, I just go to this menu what you showed. That would be nice, and hopefully that we can get this done soon.
Well, the one thing I do also recommend, and I see it's on your website, is the UPS, the 5-volt backup device for the battery. I think that's a very smart thing to add. It's very reasonably priced there too. I can tell you. I mean, from a guy who built one myself and blah 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 and went through all the pain and effort to do it because I'm a hardware guy. I said, well, sometimes it's just better just to buy it and be done, right? So anyway,
can I just ask a quick question?
Yes.
I probably have asked Udo this before, but I haven't read the instructions yet. When you're converting it over to OHB, you can, because I have mine running so it's on my browser. I don't have it hooked up to a monitor. So
Okay.
what I can do is if I just keep everything attached and just run an HDMI to the monitor, I can then turn off Hamclock and do the instructions, and it should come up under OHB. Is that sort of how it works?
Once you've made the changes to your Hamclock software,
Yeah.
you go on OHB and it basically steps you through you use the -B, which is a redirect command.
Oh,
The next time you run it,
it comes up.
It's going to come up that way again, right?
Mhm.
But what we were just talking about is if that profile, or I should say that
Oh, that profile.
that code gets corrupted,
Right.
you have to restart your device again. It's good to have it on a SD card that you could reflash the machine again, right? Otherwise, because if all you do is basically make the changes, but then never back them up, and then the device gets corrupted, then you reflash the original version of software, unless you've taken it from the N0S LSR site, it's going to be not changed, right? You're going to have to make the changes again.
Yeah.
So do I leave the old the 422, the Innovato SD card in when I make those changes, or should you take it out?
No,
you have to. Yeah, you have to understand, Eric, that device has internal flash and memory in it. So under normal circumstances, you run from this device. The SD card is only there to plug it in, boot it up with nothing connected, and then it copies the content of the SD card into the internal memory.
Right.
Okay. So when you make any changes, you make these changes into internal memory.
Not the SD card.
Not the SD card.
Right.
However, there's a little caveat. If you want to put the SD card in, hook up a monitor, that device recognizes that there's a monitor connected. It will boot up and run from the SD card. Okay, it will not copy to the internal memory. So theoretically, you could make your changes on that SD card, and then make sure that you shut it properly down, then disconnect your monitor, then repower the device, and then it copies the contents from the SD card to the internal memory, and you still have your backup on your SD card for future. Right, that's a special way of doing it, but yeah, I did not put it in my instructions because it's a little bit complicated. No.
Oh, it's not in your instructions. No. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not a real standard way, I guess, right way to put it. I don't know if that's the right way to say it or not, but it's a way that you can achieve having it on the SD card and in the device
itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
My problem is that I don't have a monitor close by the Hamclock. I'm trying to figure out if I need to get a real long HDMI cable and see if I can move them closer together.
David, take the thing and carry it over across the desk. Come on.
There you go.
Don't I need to have it connected to the modem to do that?
A modem?
Yeah, to the
internet, you mean?
Internet, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You need internet connection.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
You have to understand that when you connect your browser to this device, you pretty much connect to a web server in this device.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you shut down Hamclock, that web server stops.
Mm.
And you don't see anything anymore on your browser. You know, you pretty much stop the web server and you don't see the desktop in your browser. You only see the desktop when you hook up a monitor. To your HDMI port.
Eric, you got access.
Sorry, Dave.
Eric,
no, it's perfect because it is a little confusing for a lot of people. Yeah. And like I said at the beginning, the reason I use my browser, the reason I use it is for convenience of making changes.
Mm-hmm.
I have it running on a monitor or I have it running on a small touch screen, right? Which is always connected to the device.
Dave, can you go back and explain how you get from your little mini keyboard to get it onto your browser? You talked about that, but I didn't get it.
I'm sorry, say that question again, please.
You explain how you get the control to go on your browser.
Oh, okay. So see on my screen right here, underneath my call sign, it says disk full right now. I'm trying to look if you got the same thing. Yeah, okay, you're seeing it. Now it shows the IP address. You see that? It flashed on there for a second?
Yes, I saw that.
Okay. So when it cycles through, next time it comes up, if you have a device running the same way, and if you have your Innovato or whatever device you have, it's doing the same thing on the monitor. I mean, you just need to know the IP address that it has captured from your network, right? That it was assigned from your network. Mine happens to be 192.168.84, I think is what it was. So you take that. Oh, actually, I can show you. Hold on a second. It'd probably be easier. Let's do this. Let me go back up. Here. Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
This is a slide. All right. So this is that top pane in the Hamclock display underneath what was my call sign. When the IP flashes, you take note of it, right? Then on your browser, in where you would normally type in a web address or a URL, you type in that IP address with a colon followed by 8081 with a / live.html. And then you just hit enter. And what should happen is if your computer and the Hamclock are on the same network, then your Hamclock screen will appear on your browser. my recommendation is save it as a bookmark. And the next time you need it, you just call it up. I mean, unless you're unplugging your Hamclock every time and it maybe gets a different IP address the next time you turn it on, or I leave mine plugged in consistently. So it pretty much has that address and it stays there. As long as it has that same address, the next time it comes up or the next time it's running, you can hit your bookmark and it'll pull it up on your screen. In essence, that's what we're looking at here.
Okay, that's very helpful. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'll send this. I mean, if there's a way to give you guys the presentation, you're more than welcome to it. I'll make it available to anybody.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go back to some of the settings. Each of these rectangular areas up here are all configurable. This thing is so powerful. It's got so many settings. I particularly have mine for live spots. What I do is I give it my grid square, and I'll show you how to set this in a second. I have it go out to PSK Reporter, and it shows me what's going on. Here's my grid square, right? It knows from my grid square how many QSOs or how many contacts are being made from my geography out. And it gives me a good indication of, okay, well, in this particular, like right now, it looks like 20 meters to me would be, if I want to go make a lot of contacts, that's the band that's most functional right now. The way you get to all this is in each of these boxes you can configure, and if you come to where the header of the box is, and you click on it, it changes the display and it says, hey, what do you want to show here? I have live spots selected, but if you look down this list, there's a ton of stuff that you can put on here, right? If I wanted to see what contests were running this weekend, I would just select, or what's running now or what's going to be coming up. You can click on contests, hit OK, and then it starts showing me the different contests for the weekend that's coming up. It's a pretty powerful feature. If you're a contester, you don't have to feel like you have to go out to a bunch of different websites and go find this stuff. Something else is another big one is if you want to look at DXpeditions. Let's turn the contacts off. I'll go here, and it's showing me the DXpeditions. Now, one thing I want to point out is this number up here with this download looking arrow. It means there's 23 listed there. So if I click on the arrow, it increments the list. It shows me that there's 7 up on top and 16 more down on the bottom. Here's something else. If you say, let's say I want to look at, it says there's something in the Azores. So you can come over here and you can click on the Azores and say, show me the website for that. And it'll take me out to
wow,
the DX website, and then I can find the information about it. Right? I mean, for me, a young ham learning all this stuff was overwhelming, but it puts so much information at your fingertips. So here's the Azores. It tells me when it's running, who is doing it. I mean, it's a really nice feature. All right. So I'm going to come back here again. I'm going to leave it on live spots. And I'm going to say, okay. And it's going to switch back to my live spots. All right, I got ahead of myself there. So it shows all the different bands. So that you can click on the bands and you can say where you want to get this information from, right? Reverse Beacon Network, PSK, Whisper. And here's something that's very cool. You can say, show me the spots of my DE for me, it's Echo Mary 74 of that grid, right? And that's the grid for that. Or I can say, of my call. Well, I messed it up. Here we go. Path off. Here we say call. So I can say now for my call, and what's happened was because I haven't been on the air, it doesn't show me any paths anymore. Because I personally, you know, with my call sign, PSK reporter hasn't seen me doing anything. So I can go back, put it back to my grid, or while I'm also here, I can say I want it only for the last 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hour. These are all the settings that you would normally go to PSK reporter and have to manipulate. You can turn off certain bands. If you're not, like, if you don't work 30 a lot, you can turn that off. If I don't care about 2 and 6 for my HF stuff, let's say. Then when I hit OK again, it's now going to show me the different paths for what I've told it. And if you notice, it disabled these ones because I told it I didn't care to see that anymore. And this is of the last 15 minutes. So let me go back here. Let's go by grid. Let's do 30 minutes. And I'm just going to turn them back on here.
Want to switch your path on, by the way.
Oh, I had it turned off. I must have. There we go. Now it's 101 and 1. I didn't see any lines. There we go. And the colors that they show up on these lines represent the bands that those contacts were, or those connections were being made from, right? So in the display, all the yellow stuff is all 20 meters. I guess that's like a pinkish color is 10 meters. Another thing while we're talking about that is you can come over to the different destinations, and if you click on it, you can make that your DX. And if I do that and I set that to my DX, what happens is my vocab starts showing me information from me to that point, to that DX, and the current conditions for the bands. Now, I have it set for FT8 right now, but you can change these too, and we'll get there in a second. If you use an FT8 and you have that cluster feature turned on, it'll start showing you the call signs over here that you've made contacts with in your FT8. Once again, this next window, you have a bunch of other stuff that you can show in here also. Depending, some of it's the same. And then also these are a little bit dynamic. I found that if you select certain things in one window, they won't show up in the other, and vice versa, right? So they kind of work hand in hand a little bit. So you have to pay attention to that when you're setting things up. The last window over here that I have set for vocap DEDX has a couple of nice features in it. So in the particular screen we see right now, if I click on the left side over here, it's calculating the reliability maps. If I use 10 meters, if you notice across the bottom of the screen here is a color-coded percentage reliability, and it shows me where 10 meters is going to be reliable to me, starting up, high rate to very low rates, right? That's a very cool feature. And if you click on the right-hand side of that, it starts calculating the different takeoff angles necessary in degrees. It color codes the map and takeoff angles for you to show you what, if you're running 10 meters, what would be the appropriate takeoff angles to get to those destinations.
Where does it tell you the colors, what they mean?
The bottom.
You couldn't see it on the bottom of the screen? Maybe it's...
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Okay, where it says 10, 15, and...
Yeah, so it changes, right? So right
Okay.
now it's showing me DE takeoff angles in the different degrees. That's for that. And then if I click on the left side, it's showing me percent reliability across the board. Okay. Now,
So
one of the things that's important in that window, if you're using the vocap, is these settings here, right? Obviously, I can tell it if I'm running QRP, let's say I'm running 5 watts, the world's going to change a lot on what I can talk to. And depending on what mode, if I say I'm running SSB with 5 watts, hardly anything. Right? It just all went to heck. If I can change my takeoff angle too, right? If I say it's greater than 3 degrees, that's fine. And this is short path or long path, right? So if I go long path, I click here and it goes to long path. Basically, it says you're out of luck. You can't talk to anybody with 5 watts SSB, or you can't possibly, make those connections, right? So you can play with the wattages. I usually leave mine at 100 because I look at it and I go, if I can do it with 100, I surely can do it with 1500, right? I do a lot of FT8 stuff when the bands go wonky, so I leave it on FT8, and I leave it on short path. All right. So the other thing kind of related to that, I'm going to jump down here to the DX window. DX window has some other nice features in it. So if you click on the DX window, you can select to track satellites also. For example, if I want to, where am I here? Where the heck is the ISS?
Third down, middle column.
Yeah. Middle column, third one down.
Oh, shoot, right there. Okay. I'm going blind. So if I say that, well, it's out of date.
You're still pointing to CSI.
Yeah,
you don't get satellite. That's one of the features. Doesn't work anymore on the Clear Sky Institute.
Right. So I haven't updated the pointer yet, and that's a good point. So if you start seeing those error messages, it means you haven't redirected your calls to the other servers yet. Well, just imagine, you would actually see the satellite paths start showing up, and it'll show you the different information about it, the time to acquisition, and all that other information associated with the satellites would show up here, and you can rotate it in that window if you'd like. This particular, one of the things that, like, for example, if I want to come over here to Europe and I just want to see and I'm going to say, set that to my DX somewhere. I'm just arbitrarily pointed somewhere in Europe, right? This is green dot. So from here to here, this is, it gives me a snapshot of that destination, of that DX. Tells me the distance, and that's short path here. If I click on it, it'll show me long path. I can toggle back and forth between those two. And when I do that, it also changes the vocab projections that are associated with that. You can also, we don't want to do that. Hold on a second. I was going to say you can make changes to the. Oh, come on! That's not what I wanted to do. Come on. Oh, I might be confused because if you have the satellite up, you can call up some other information in that bottom pane window also.
Dave,
yes.
A quick question. I'm looking at my unit now, and all of a sudden, where I had vocap, same place you have it, it's blank. It went blank. It says no vocap data.
Yeah, I've got that too.
I can explain that. just before the call here, the OHB group made an update to the backend server, installed a new version, and something went bad.
Okay.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah, they just were working on to get it back, so they had to reset the server. So
Okay.
there are
Thank you.
certain features which will take a little bit to update.
Not a problem.
We've got an inside guy here on the call. That's really good.
Okay.
I got a question. I've updated to 423 and I'm getting this nonsense that it's not working properly. I had a power bump the other day. Is it possible to go back to 4.22? And if so, how?
Okay, so you would have to. Is your device working at all?
Oh yes, it works, and it's sort of, it's like Neil said about no vocab data. Well, vocab data just came back, and it's been doing funny stuff ever since I had a power bump over the weekend.
Okay, so the version 4.22, I think it's available on one of the two websites.
I mean,
Okay.
it's currently not there to download, but I can make it available, John, if you want it. But to be honest, the data is the same. It's the same data source if you have 4.22 or 4.23. Nothing changed in the vocab. But again, there was a problem with the server, so you should be able to see the data. If you don't see the data, let's say in a couple hours, contact me and we go through that and see what's going on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I saw somebody had the image for 422. I'm trying to remember.
I have it, but
yeah, I mean, I think I actually have it on an SD card too. But to Udo's point, it's, if you download the 423 and reflash your machine, it's the same thing. It should work fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean,
I notice now I'm trying to make changes in the vocab window, and the mouse goes over it, but I click on OK, nothing happens.
yeah, vocab is right now still a little bit flaky. That will take probably another hour or two before that is stable. Okay. So
one of and I'm just going to keep going here. One of the big things is this map, right? So where this says terrain, if you click on that, you get this nice drop-down menu with all kinds of choices. The two maps that I use personally are terrain and maximum usable frequency, the MUF-RT. The D level, or excuse me, the D layer absorption is another good one to use. If you're doing a lot of DX stuff, you can kind of get a good idea of what's going on with your propagations. The difference between the maximum usable frequency real time and the maximum usable frequency of vocap. Vocap is a calculated model, right? So it's kind of static. Once it's calculated, that's what you'll see. Versus real time is based on information it's getting back from different stations, different monitoring stuff. And it could actually change. It's a little more dynamic. But the problem is that if those stations aren't reporting back good, accurate data, you're going to get a bad display or you'll have gaps in your information. So, I mean, it's kind of a trade-off, but I leave it at the real time. If you want to start looking at weather, let me turn off this and turn off this. If you want to just start looking at weather maps, let's see if this works. There we go. I mean, so it depends on what you're really, used to seeing, what you like to see. Some people love seeing all the isometric patterns and the pressure zones. If you want clouds on your display, You can see where in the world the different cloud accumulations are. Right? It's a pretty neat. I mean, I just find this so fascinating that all this information is just available so easily here. If you wanted to outline the country outlines, let's turn all these off and pull that up. It'll start showing you the different country outlines. So you can also zoom into the different countries. If you just click on here, you can say, I want to go back. I want to zoom in. Come on. It allows me to zoom in and I can get a little more detailed display. When you're all done, you can just say reset and it'll go back to its normal display again. One of the other things I like is you can just hover, you can just point, you don't have to point and click. You can just bring your mouse over any geography you like. For example, I'm up here in Alaska. It's showing me in the top left corner there, it says the Latin long, the grid square. It's telling me the temperature. And it does it dynamically, right? If I want to come down here to Australia, I hold over there. Once again, it shows me the current temperature. It shows me the grid square, the CQ, the ITU numbers. There's so much information that this thing just provides you in one single place that, when we first got notified that this wasn't going to work after June, I was a little terrified because I use this for so many different things now. One of the last boxes that I want to point out is this top one up here. And I usually leave it at space weather. And the reason I do that is because it provides me a couple of really key parameters. It gives me the solar flare index and the KP index, right, the number. And basically, I mean, I joke with people. I tell them the KP number is in my head, it stands for killing propagation. The higher that number gets, I know that my propagation is going to go wacky. But then the days following, it'll be much better. So if I start seeing this number climb up to the 3s and 4s, and the solar flare index is a high number also, the bands are probably going to not be very good for a while, right, for a day or two. And then afterwards, you're going to have you're going to have a really good DX capabilities afterwards. There's so much stuff in here to play with that I think it's just, you have to concede that you got to get the manual. You got to step through all these different features, see which ones you want. Little things like this here. I stared at this for so long and had no idea what those were. But it's sunrise and sunset, right? Mm-hmm. So it's telling me where I am. My sunset's going to be in 3 hours and 5 minutes. The sun rose 10 hours and 33 minutes ago. I honestly, I was staring at it for so long. It's got so much information here. You get overloaded. You really do.
Yeah. If you click on it, it actually changes to the real time.
There you go. Good point. And there's another thing, as you pointed that out. If you're curious about what something is, if you hold your control key down, and let's see if that's going to do it up here. Hold on a minute. Oh, I'm thinking of it in the setup. Hold on. So when you go into your setup, let me just exit out. Let's restart here. Watch this.
Yep.
So another little thing, like Udo pointed out. So if you want to know what something is, you can kind of come over here. If you hold your control key down and click on it, it kind of gives you a little bit of an insight into what that is, right? As you step through the configuration pages. If you're not sure what something is, it'll at least give you a clue, right? And then you have something else to look up afterwards because you'll probably be more confused.
Good point. Yeah.
So Dave, where is the documentation?
On my website.
It's on the websites. It's also, I mean, if you just did a Google search for Hamclock, I think the current one is, the current manual, I think, is 422, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to stop sharing.
I grabbed it before he shut down his website, so it's on my website. And
I have it. If anybody needs it, you can email me also. I'm KO4USA at Yahoo. I have every time I saw a new one, I grabbed the PDF and I saved it. So, but like I said before, when I brought up the website, Udo's website is, I go there often. It's got a lot of great information. It's got a lot of resources there for you to use. So thank you very much for that, by the way. I appreciate it. I really do.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned Innovado shutting down. Actually, if you go to the Innovado's website, you get out of forwarded now to mine, and you still have access through there when you go to support to the forum. The Innovado forum will stay alive for a while, and I'm working with Michael to take that probably over and keep it alive. So support will continue. So I will support all the Innovado customers too. So it doesn't matter where you bought it. I will take care of them too. And
what do you call it? The forum? What was
forum? Yeah.
That's still running also?
That's still running, but right now either you have a shortcut or you have to go through my website and go click to support, and there's a link to the forum. Okay, so
that's a very useful resource also, because sometimes the most common things people, right. I mean, somebody else has already had that issue or had a question that's similar, and if you're like me, I'm like.
Right, and you can search. There is actually a search function. You can type in your problem, and it probably find it. And funny as it is, if you go and use Copilot, if I get stuck with something, AI actually is doing a relative good job with ham radio related stuff too. Sometimes, you get a little bit funny responses, but most of the time, it's actually doing very good. And,
I agree.
Points you in the right direction. Okay. Yeah.
And so generally speaking, I mean, until you play with all this stuff, you'll probably have more questions when you try to configure things or try to get other things working. And my best advice is download the manual and just play with it.
Yeah.
And if you do a backup, worst thing is you can just restore your backup if you totally get things all jacked out of shape, and you can always restore your backup and bring your display back to how you liked it. So, any questions from anybody that maybe, I don't know, Udo's been as much of a resource here as I have, I guess. So,
if I have it running with my browser and go to the backup section, where does it save it? Does it save it on my desktop, or does it save it on the Innovado?
The configuration backup? Yeah, it saves it to the device.
Saves it to the device. So what I type in up there when I need to type a file name.
You just make up a name that it'll reference in the future. Yeah.
I got to give it a file name. That's normal.
Right. I just give it the month usually, or the month and the year or something, so.
Yeah. Okay.
It gives me at least an idea of when I took that snapshot, right?
Hey, Dave, I have a question for you.
Yes.
If you look into your message window, I did go and ask my AI Gemini how to install my Hamclock, and it gave me an instruction. Is that the correct one? Look in your message window.
Look at my message window. Okay.
I see. Chat.
Let me see. open terminal.
Yes, actually, that's correct, Ari.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
will work for me.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank
That's
you.
on
I will
that's
try
for
tomorrow
Raspberry
morning.
Pi. Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Yes, that was my next question. What type of device are you running it on?
I got it from you guys. I don't know. It is a heavy duty something. I don't remember. If you give me the last name of the box he was selling before he closed the server.
See, because I think that isn't that instruction for the Raspberry Pi
Talking
though?
about Innovado, like.
Yes, exactly. I have that one. Two
Oh,
of them.
yeah. Ari, you can just download a image. Already everything installed from my website.
I was a little bit late. I forgot about you guys. Do you have a link on it on somewhere?
Yeah,
I
you
can
know
get it
you
tomorrow.
might call n0lsr.com, and then you go to
Okay.
support and download, and there you find the images and instructions how to make the SD card and how to restore it and everything else.
Okay, perfect. When I got the invite to this box, I got also a SD card. Is that still working or is
That
it
is
out of?
probably very old, so you probably have to update it with a newer image.
Okay, I will get it from you then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just go to the website, download it, and you have to make the SD card, right? So what is it, Bellini or whatever the heck the name at?
Yeah, Bellini Etcher. Yeah.
Okay, not a problem. I will do that.
But it's laid out pretty clearly on the website.
Yeah. If you have any problems, contact me. I'm more than happy to help.
Yeah, I know how to find you. I call you middle of the night.
That's
as usual.
fine. I'm up anyway.
I know that.
John in Kansas, you had a question?
Okay. I've got it up and running. I have my my call sign in there. Where do you put your location in there?
Okay, on that first page, there's two spaces. You can put your long and lat in, or a little bit further over to the right, you can put your Maidenhead grid in. You see that?
Yeah, John, you just put your grid square in there.
Okay, Maidenhead. Where is that again? Maidenhead.
All right. So on the first page,
the main page, yes.
Right under where you put your call sign in.
Correct.
Over to the right,
it says grid.
You don't see that?
I think he's not on the setup screen.
So I clicked.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait, are you in the setup or are you on the actual application?
I'm on the application.
Oh, okay. So here's what you do. There's a little on your application. It looks like a little lock.
Yes, got it.
If you click and hold that for a second, you'll come up with a menu.
Yes, got it.
And restart Hamclock is one of them.
Reboot computer?
Restart Hamclock.
Gotcha, I got it. Okay.
Okay. And then and then you're just gonna click on the screen because you have like, I don't know, 20 seconds or something like that, and it'll go into setup. It should take you to page 1 of your setup.
I'm there.
And then you'll see your call sign in the top left corner.
Gotcha.
It should say page 1, right?
Yes, I'm on page 1. And
and then right below page 1, it says grid.
Yes, that's correct.
You put your Maidenhead in there. Put your grid square in there.
Okay, that's what I need.
Then you exit out. You just say okay, and that'll be your DE location then.
Got it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Well, Dave, I got to tell you, that was quite a presentation. I think most of us have some of it, but nobody had seen everything that it can do and understood what everything can do.
It is so, and there's a lot more to it also, to be honest, Bob. Those are probably the main things that people play with, and that they can feel like they get something back out of it. You just got to go in and not be afraid of it.
Oh, absolutely. It's just a wonderful program, and he did a wonderful job, and he gave it away free all these years.
I can't even imagine.
Right.
It's just, it is crazy.
And we want to keep it free. So I'm working on
it.
Yes. I hope. I mean, even though, to be very blunt, even if somebody came to me and said, there's now a subscription, as long as it's reasonable, I think it would still be a very, very, very good resource.
Right. I think somebody's trying to do that, but we'll see.
I hope not.
The one group, let's say,
we have to think about what we call it. I don't even know what we call them anymore.
Which has the name Hamclock.com. He actually tries to,
I hope so. I hope not. Because I think that'll sour a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm putting effort in it. Not that let this not happen. Okay, so don't worry.
Well, we have an option, right? We have the two solutions that are out there. One of them, obviously, for yourself, Udo. We know that one works. We know it works, and we know that
I'm actively involved in the OHB group. Okay. I actually helped also on the website there. And if you ever want to know what a particular release, what features there are, you go there and look the release notes up. And you asked earlier, you didn't know exactly what the difference is between 4.2.2 and 4.2.3. There are some subtle, more behind the scenes differences. There are some switches were introduced, which are described in the release notes, which are less of interest for the normal user. But one important thing is that you now see the backend you're connected in 4.2.3 in the same display where you see the IP address. It will also show you what backend you're connected.
Oh, that's a good feature.
4.2.3. And we're right now working on 4.2.4. Actually, it's in beta right now. And one thing is, it may be interested from some folks, and especially probably south or so, where they have thunderstorms and everything else. It will feed lightning information on the map, so you will see lightning strikes and things like that.
Udo, do you need beta testers?
Yes. If we need beta testers. I don't know right now. I mean, we have a small group of beta testers who look at that. I mean, if you're good with Linux, because right now most of the time beta software is installed via not as easy as like for the normal user. You have to go into a terminal window and type in commands to get it going, stuff like that.
So, Udo, let me ask you a quick question. You referenced that you guys are working on future versions. Is the will the software auto update? Will it, like, because in the previously, the version number would show up in red.
Right. That
and
is
then
still
if you just clicked on it, it would say, "Hey, you want to do the upgrade?" You'd say yes, and
right. Now,
a minute later you were done. Right.
Right. Right now there is a small problem with the Clear Sky Institute. The certificate for CSI expired about 10 days ago. So HTTPS will not authenticate anymore.
Right.
There's nobody home to fix it. There's nobody home.
The certificate of the owner is not.
It's pretty much. It's like abandoned right now, and it just ticks along like a space probe flying around somewhere, and nobody does anything anymore. I mean, it's still working. It's still dishing out data, it collects data, but certain things like, for example, the epoch time for satellites expired a long time ago. and a certificate expires. So right now, if you are to point to CSI, you will not get any updates. Right now, only OHP offers the upgrades. Hamclock.com is not yet there. They may pick up the talks between the groups, and like I'm talking terms, but
Okay.
so that might happen. But right now, you have to point to OHP to get your 4.23 update. Okay, so
correct.
And you cannot use the old method where you just edit the host file, what was done before. That won't work because you have to use the -B option where you
Right.
point to the backend. Yeah.
Right.
Just if anybody wants to get more details, I would say go to my website, look for backend change instructions. There's a step-by-step instruction what you have to.
Yeah, I had the slides I snapshotted the slides. I mean, it was probably hard to read because it was small, but my point of putting it on there was it's very clear. I mean, and I think that probably the average user can do those things. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
It's not overly difficult to do.
I mean, you have to. Okay, it might be scary because you have to open a terminal window and type in cryptic command. You have no idea what you're typing, but if you can follow instructions, it's not very hard to do. I mean, it's like just text, Yeah, it's a little bit hard to cut and paste because you're in Linux. you're on a monitor in Linux with a keyboard or on your device. And on the other side, you have your laptop maybe reading the instructions.
Yeah.
So you cannot just grab the text from here and put it over there. You wouldn't have to type it, but unfortunately. But it's a relative easy one-line command where you have to type a couple of funny characters.
Yeah. Spaces and syntax is very important.
Yeah. And up on lowercase is very important in Linux,
That's right.
Yeah. But Dave, even I learned something with this vocab that you can select the takeoff angle.
I'm telling you, there's probably a ton of stuff that I've never seen. It's so chock full of features. It's terrific.
I never played with that myself, so I was like, "Oh, you can do that? Wait!" So I learned.
Dave, I'm wondering, is it easier to operate a linear accelerator than to find all the features in Hamclock?
You know what? I can tell you the answer is yes, because they designed the keyboards on those accelerators for the operators to be almost foolproof.
You press the green button for on and the red button for off, right?
That's pretty much. You select the energy you want, how much time you want, on.
And somebody else aims it in the correct direction, so you don't get the liver instead of the kidneys.
Oh, well, you know what? It's a whole nother topic we should do a whole conference on. The image guided stuff has become so incredibly accurate now. It's amazing. From when I first started to what, it used to be like we used to just, you're blasting away, and now it's down to, sub-millimeter accuracy, and the treatment planning systems that they're using, the computers that they're using to do the treatment plans. And then there's connected directly to the machines, and it tells the machine exactly what to do. And it's become huge in the last few years. And then frankly, with all the developments in biomarkers and everything else going on right now, honestly, I hope that in 5 years we're not even using radiation anymore. It'd be wonderful if your immune system can be triggered into doing all the work.
Yeah. Dave, is there certain tumors that the linear accelerator is used for nowadays, or how is that going?
Well, they're used for everything, right? I mean, there's 3 courses of treatment that you can go. We're really getting off subject here, but I don't mind. This is like my passion. So you can do surgery, you can do chemotherapy, or you can do radiotherapy. Right. And now there's immunotherapy, right? So there's a 4th option even. The different machines are for different things. Like, for example, the proton systems, those bigger, more expensive ones, are great for when there's a lot of critical structures, like for around your head and neck, because your eyes and such are all so sensitive, in your brain and the different structures in your head are also close together. The beam has to be more exact. It has a more precise drop off, so the energy is not spread out as far. But like, for example, for children, proton systems are great. Why? Because, while we use radiation to treat these things, the radiation itself will cause tumors many years later also, right? So it's got a plus and a minus to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are different machines and different things that you can do. So, hey, Bob, thanks for inviting me.
Oh, well, thank you. You did a wonderful job, and everybody is wowed at all the things that this can do.
Well, anybody has questions, my email is my call, ko4usa@yahoo. And feel free to drop me a note or whatever. And if I can help you out, I'll be more than happy to.
Dave, one last question.
Yes, sir.
I know I can call you at home, but the Hamclock has what they call lines. That's the term they use, lines, where it shows.
Oh, do you mean the grid lines?
Yes.
On the map. On the map, yeah. You're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you get that to display?
Well, if you click on the map.
Okay, one person.
All right.
Neil, you bring up the terrain menu.
I'm sorry?
All right, so Neil, on your map, on your map where it says, well, depending on how you have it set, it says countries or terrain or whatever it says, right? If you click on that, you get a drop-down menu.
Yes.
On the bottom, midway through there, it says grid.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about? You want to have the Latin long grids, or?
No, it's it basically, where it shows my location, and it's showing prefixes all around.
He wants to see the PSK reporter
yes.
lines.
Oh, okay. So that's in the top area where it says spots. Do you have live spots up? Is that what you have?
Yes.
Okay. If you click on if you click in that area on any of the bands, the colored for the bands, like the different 20, 30, right, whatever, it comes up in a menu. And then there's a heading in there called path. Do you see that?
No, I'm having I'm having an issue with my unit right now, but just go ahead. I'll figure it out.
Okay, so if you, in your spots, if you click on any of the bands that are listed, it'll bring up a menu. And that menu, one of the things in there says path. And if you turn path on, it will show you the PSK report of the paths from DE to DX.
Okay.
Good? No good?
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
Oh, that's it. And then once you turn it on, all the lines will show up on your screen.
Got it.
Yeah, I just looked on my email. There's some back and forth going on with the group. They're still having issues with the server, so they're working on it. And it's in the data center in the UK. They're trying to spin up a second server to run in parallel. So something, yeah. So Neil, if you don't see the PSK reporter reports, there is a current issue right now at the moment.
Okay, that explains it.
Yeah, you
Oh,
probably
okay.
see all -1s right now. That's what
Thank
I
you,
see.
sir.
Yeah, but they're working on it.
See, a lot of these things we took for granted for so long. It's not easy to come in at the 11th hour and make all this stuff work. It's hard.
Mhm.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of work that these guys did, and you got to be really appreciative of all the stuff that they've done to keep this thing live.
And you still lose for free, you know.
And it's for free, even
Yeah.
better.
Yeah,
I mean, even just the hosting costs are not
well,
it's expensive.
The lucky situation that the co-owner of a data center in the UK is one of the members of the group, and he
That's nice.
pretty much provided the server space for free.
Wow.
But, so
You know, I said earlier before we had this get together that I spent a couple of $100, whatever, to get Geocron, because when Geocron was a manual unit before the Geocron 4K, it was several $1,000s, and that was just not in the budget. So when Geocron 4K came out, I got one. I have not turned it on since Hamclock, and because Hamclock does so much more, and it's just amazing.
So, we do all the ARIS stuff with the schools, the amateur radio with the ISS.
Yeah.
So the last school that we just did the contacts with, they were talking about, well, we're gonna get a Geocron, and I said, time out. I said, $50. Here's the website. Go buy one of these things and plug it into one of your big TVs you got, and you're all done. She couldn't believe me. I was like,
it's absolutely amazing. And I'm just looking at the spots showing up that are stations on the air, and that to me is amazing.
Oh, it just came back, by the way.
Yeah, VoaCap just popped up.
Yeah, it just came. The live spots came back. Just look at it.
Yeah, and the lines came back.
There you go. You got your lines now, Neil. You're all set.
I got my lines. I'm happy.
You got your lines. You're in line.
Oh, take a magic marker on your screen.
There you go.
And a ruler.
That's right.
Dave.
Yes,
Dave,
sir.
I just wanted to show you this real quick here.
I know that textbook.
You do?
There's actually 3 or 4 very, very common textbooks for medical physics.
My dad wrote this book with the other gentleman there.
Oh, is that? Oh my gosh. I didn't even pick up on that when you first held it up.
Oh.
Wow.
Dave, I'll tell you something funny. You're talking about Varian. This is, it's got to be 10 or 12 years ago when the Dayton Ham Fest was still at Hara Arena. I was in the flea market, and this guy had a big box full of crazy looking iMac tubes, brand new in the box. And I said, that would make an interesting lamp. So I bought one of the tubes, took it to a lamp making guy, he made it into a lamp. And I looked at the tube and I said, I wonder what that was for. So I called iMac and I gave them, it had a VT number, military designation. And I called and spoke to the guy. He said, I don't know. Let me talk to Joe. He's been here forever. Joe gets on the line And he says to me, snaps at me, yells at me, "Where the hell did you get that?" I said, "I bought it at the Hamvention, the ham radio convention in Dayton." He said, "You goddamn hams." That's exactly what he said to me. Come up with the weirdest shit. And I said, what is the problem? He said, in their infinite wisdom, it is still classified as top secret by the military. But I can tell you, it was a World War II radar type tube.
Oh my gosh.
It's a special tube for radar. And I have one. Next time you're at the house, I'll show it to you.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Made into a lamp.
I'd love to see that. We used to do that with the Thyratrons, which are basically the big switching tube that they would use to discharge the pulse forming networks. And they were very large glass envelope tubes. We used to cut them open, and then you just put a light inside of them, and they were a great table lamp. You know?
Yeah, I thought about trying to light it up, but I said, nah, I'd probably screw it up.
One of the other things we used to make, and then I'll let you guys go, I'll stop chewing your ear. We used to make what they call electron trees. We take a large piece of like a cube of polystyrene, and you would polish it so that it was very smooth on the outside. It was a big square, right? And then we used to put it up into the collimator of the device where the beam comes out. And then we put a high energy electron beam. We fire electrons into it. We put thousands and thousands and thousands of monitor units of electrons into the device, into the plastic. And what happens is the plastic captures the electrons. And then what you would do is you would take a line from a grounded line, like from a cold water pipe with a wire with a center punch, and you'd walk up to the flat surface on it, have big heavy gloves on, and you would pop the center punch into it, and it would fracture the plastic at the top that you've captured all this electrons. And what happens is the electrons all try to go to that one point, and they do it in an instant, and it generates a lot of heat, and it fractures the plastic inside, and it all exits out of the grounded center punch that you've just put into it. And what happens is it captures the pathway of all these electrons exiting the plastic, and it because it fractures the plastic, it's there forever after that. So you turn it upside down, and it looks like, we used to call them electron trees. And it was this, from a single point, you saw what looked like a root, and then all these hundreds and hundreds of little fractured lines going out. It was beautiful architecture when you looked at it.
Dave, I think I have one of those that my dad made. One of those.
I'm sure you do.
With the tree, yeah.
I'm sure you do. Those things are just. I have a bunch of them around the house. A bunch of small ones, and then I have one that's
really
almost a meter by a meter. It's huge. It's the biggest, one of the biggest ones that that was they gave it to me as a going away present when I left the company.
Wow.
It's amazing to see. Excuse me.